Welcome to the Good Morning from the Chicken Coop podcast with Kim Johnson, your creative strategist and master mindset coach. Filled with inspiration, distinctions, perspectives, and possibilities, we help you to cultivate a mindset that leads you to create the best version of yourself you could ever imagine. Join Kim every morning from one of her favorite happy places, her chicken coop, along with all her chickens.
Good morning, everybody, from the chicken coop. Hope you guys are starting your day off in a great way. You'll maybe hear some very loud clucking in the background this morning because we've got some early morning egg layers and they like to announce it being very loud. So if it gets loud, I apologize, but they are in there laying eggs and they are excited about it. There you go. That's egg laying sound. Letting everybody know. I like that they like to voice their successes, right? So this morning we are going to talk about the power of imagination, possibly one of my most favorite topics to ever talk about because it is, in the words of Joseph Murphy, and you know I quote him a lot, but he says that this is the workshop of God. And I love that, regardless of your beliefs, whether you believe in God, the universe, whether you don't have beliefs in any of that, you know, imagination is really a unique gift that has been given to humans. And it is something that, to me, I've just dwelled in it for the majority of my life. And just really, as a child, I just always coveted my own ability to have such a big imagination. Now, much to the dismay of some of my teachers, because you know, I didn't fall in line well. I was not an in-line student, and I often was in trouble for it. But it was okay because they just didn't understand, and I was okay with it because I just really loved the power of my imagination. Didn't understand it, didn't have a clue about it, and nobody could help me with that because my parents didn't understand what that was all about either, because, you know, they just believed what the teachers told them and everything else. But I will say the power of my imagination has served me well, hence me shooting a podcast from a chicken coop, which definitely came from the power of what I come up with. And I love the thought of it being like just a universal creative workshop to be able to go to that place. So what can your imagination do for you? Well, there are plenty of people out there that don't believe they're creative. And I always stop my clients when they say that to me, and I say, no, you are creative. You just have different ways of being creative. Because lots of times people think of this and they say, oh my goodness, you know, I can't imagine anything. I can't put anything out there. And I'm like, no, you do. You just do it in a different way. You have different subtleties. Some people use their imagination to torture themselves because they keep looping in the same thoughts. And that's still using your imagination, just not for the resourceful side of things. Let's talk, you know, going to the dark side. But you can use your imagination if you give yourself the right space. If you pause and you say, I'm going to use my imagination. I'm relying on my imagination. You call on it. You actually pull it forward and you talk about that space and say, I know this is a gift. I'm tapping into that gift. I'm going to sit and I'm going to imagine, what could I do with this situation? Or what could I do with, you know, let's say you had a problem you were trying to solve, and you could sit there and just dwell in your imagination. The challenge you have as a human being is that we often just kick it out and say, that's a stupid idea. I'm not going to come up with that. I'm not going to do that. That's dumb. Or I won't even say that out loud. So we take ourselves out before we even have a chance. So the challenge I want to present you guys with is using your imagination, but not actually, you know, killing yourself ideas before you even get a chance to see them or think about them from a different standpoint. So exercise, sit down and say, okay, I'm going to give whatever this situation is, whatever I want to be creative with, to my imagination. And I'm just going to dwell in it. I'm just going to think about it. And any ideas that come up, any thoughts that come up, I'm going to capture them in my imagination notebook. Like, start a separate notebook just for your imaginative thoughts when it comes to whatever situations you're working on. Capture them all there, but don't say, I'm not going to do it right away. Say, this is stupid as you're writing it down. Nope, just capture them. And then at a later time, when you are very neutral about it all, you can come back and you can sit down and you can look at your ideas and say, okay, do I have any in there that are good? Now, I'll be honest with you. I have tons of imaginative ideas, and the majority of them I would never do. They're just too crazy, or they're too off base, or I just know they wouldn't work in other things that I'm working on. Like here we are creating this farm, and I had this thought, I want to put a swimming pool over there. And my husband's like, in the path where all these chickens pass all day long. No, that can't happen. So, of course, but my imagination painted a very big picture of it. So, okay, maybe there's a holdback to it, but there's always other things that you can come up. So my point is, you've got to stop judging your thoughts before you even have a chance to sort them through. And you've got to sit down and you've got to put them on a piece of paper so you can see them, and put yourself in a great headspace. Be excited to see what you come up with. And the more you use this tool, just like going to the gym, the stronger the muscles become. And remember, when you're doing this kind of stuff, the energy that you're in dictates completely what you're attracting. So when you say, I don't know if I could ever make something happen, we go back to that dominant mental energy. The predominant mental energy of where you are attracts what's happening. So we have to be very careful not to shut ourselves down so quickly. So today's challenge, sit down in some imaginative time. Put yourself into a headspace of just accepting all cool ideas on whatever subject you're doing. Or if you want to write a book, if you're going to paint, if you're turning, creating a new business, whatever it might be. For me, I spent a lot of time and imagination about what I wanted the life of my chickens to look like. And boy, did I get that and then some. And my chickens are thriving because of it. So when, obviously, you can see that. You can follow us on Instagram, and Facebook, and you can see all those things. And I think that the most important aspect of today is to not take yourself out before it's too early. So have fun with it, and I will see you guys tomorrow.